All right, we are live. Today is day 0 of the Add1Challenge number 13, and we have mostly new people in the Add1Challenge 13, and also we have John here. That's in the past Add1Challenge. So we're just gonna do our kickoff hangout right now. So before that, why don't we quickly introduce ourselves? What your name, where you're from, and what language you're learning? Who wants to go first?
Hey, good
James.
I will.
morning.
Okay, go.
Who's going? James? James, go ahead.
Sure. Okay, I'll go first. My name is James McIntosh. I come from the United States, and now I live in Jerusalem, Israel, and I'll be learning German.
All right. Okay, cool.
I'll go next.
All right.
Um, my name is my name is Zena Asfour. I'm from the United States in Texas, and I'm learning Spanish.
Cool. Welcome. Thanks.
Hey guys, my name is John Karate. I'm from New York, native English speaker, and I'm learning Korean.
Cool.
Hey guys, I'm Christy. I'm from the United States and I'm also learning Korean.
Oh,
Yay,
yay. John
Thumbs
got
up.
John got Koreans in his wall. Back so you can see. Cool. All right. What's next? We're just going through what our name is and what language you're learning in your Add1Challenge. Leah?
Hello, Matt.
Oh, Matt? Oh, Matt, go ahead.
Okay, hello, my name is Matt. I'm from the US and I'm learning Japanese.
Ooh, cool. Everybody's from the US. Cool. All right. All right, who's next?
My name is Leah. I'm from the US, and I'm
Yeah.
learning Korean.
Ooh, we got 3 stripes for Koreans.
nice.
Learning Korean. Cool. All right. Welcome, new people. So we need Ashley and Ashley. Oh, so your name's Ashley?
Yes.
I was going to ask you what your name is.
Yes. Hello.
So where are you from and what language you're learning?
I'm sorry I didn't get that.
Where are you from and what language you're learning?
I am from San Antonio, Texas, and I'm learning Spanish.
Oh, we got another person from Texas learning Spanish too in this hangout.
Oh, awesome.
Cool. All right.
Not learning Spanish, but I am from Texas. Full disclosure.
Ah,
Oh,
cool.
where? I'm sorry you broke up. Where are you from?
Dallas, Texas.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
All right. Let's see. All right. I think we almost got everybody. How about Henry? Where are you from and what language you're learning, Henry?
I'm from England, but right now I live in Trier in Germany, and I'm doing Brazilian Portuguese.
Cool. That's dope. Cool. All right. Last person. Can't hear you. Is it rasping? No audio.
Maybe you could type it in.
No, I can't hear you. Maybe just type in where you're from, what you're learning. Okay, from Nepal. Cool. What language you learning?
Oh, nice.
Finnish.
Finnish. Cool. Wow.
Random.
Random. A lot of random. That's awesome. That's awesome. We got James living in Israel, learning Spanish. No,
German.
German. I'm getting all confused now. Where are you from? What are you learning?
Here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so it's really exciting. We have actually we have 50 people, 51 people taking on this new Add1Challenge, and which means that 1 out of these 50 people will either get a flight ticket to your target country, or you can choose to fly to Berlin for the polyglot gathering and get a free entrance, which is 120 euro to get in. So thank you for sponsoring Polyglot Gathering. It's a really awesome event. I've been there for the last 2 years, and lots of awesome people. You don't have to be polyglot to go there, but basically lots of language learning enthusiasts, just geeking out, basically, learning about practicing speaking languages and also learning about how to learn languages. So it's really cool. So that's the possibility you can win and in that one challenge. And so in the next 90 days, are you guys excited? First of all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
All right. Cool. Awesome. So in the next 90 days, there's pretty much one thing that we can guarantee that's going to happen. Okay. One thing. What do you guys think that is? What do you think guarantee will happen in the next 90 days?
We're going to study hard, that's for sure.
Oh, yay! We're going to study hard. Okay, good.
Yeah.
What else? What else is going to happen for sure?
It's going to be the end of March.
Uh-huh. Okay, it's going to be the end of March. That's right.
We're going to have a great time with all of this.
You have a lot of good time. Yes, great. What else? Anything else?
We're going to speak for 15 minutes in our target language.
Yeah. Who's speaking?
Moi.
Oh, here you go. I see. Okay, cool. All right. So that's all great. That most likely everything that you guys is going to say is going to happen for sure. But there's also another thing I want to point out is that in the next 90 days, sometime in the next 90 days, you're going to out of the blue, you're going to feel like you're not going to want to study. I think that's pretty much going to guarantee that you're going to feel like, I don't feel like studying. I think watching TV is more fun or something, or life happens, or like you need to travel, or you got a new boyfriend or girlfriend or something, okay? So sticking to routine is very important, of course, but at the same time, I think one of the biggest things that in the Add1Challenge is that learning how to dust yourself off to get back into the routine, what you said you would do. So knowing that that's pretty much going to happen, let's brainstorm some of the ideas that, okay, if that happens, okay, what are some of the ways that will help you get yourself back on the feet and get back into the routine? Any ideas?
Maybe if you prepare a reward for yourself for reaching a goal, for practicing a certain amount every day.
Okay. All right, cool. You can create a reward for yourself if reward works for you, or punishment. If punishment works for you. Anything else?
Punishment.
Yeah.
I think reminding yourself of your reasons for learning language in the first place.
Very good. At some point in this, because just like not just learning language, like any long-term project, eventually sometimes you're going to forget why you started. Like, especially when it's hard, when it's not easy, right? So you tend to forget why you started in the first place. So that's a great idea. Like, you can maybe write it out somewhere so where you can see it. So you gotta write down like, very clear why you want to learn language, and then print it out somewhere you can see it all the time. And you can remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. Great idea. Anything else?
Oh, one thing I realized is. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's okay. You can go.
Go, John.
Yeah, so I think for me, I realized that when I don't want to study, it's because I have this idea of what I'm going to study, and it might be boring, so I don't want to do that. So in order to combat that, when I don't want to study, I try to be as creative as possible to make what I've been studying more fun or better. So like if I saw this video on YouTube and I think it's a good way to study, I might, instead of studying that day because I don't want to, I might say, how can I make this video better for me? How can I make that Duolingo app like my own Duolingo? And so while I'm working on how to make this study technique better, by the time it's done, I want to study again. I'm like, oh, now I can use it. I can use the thing I just created to study. So that's just like, brainstorming by myself and trying to be creative in terms of how I can apply later on better. It kind of just, when I finish the product, I'm like, wow, now I can finally study something interesting again instead of something boring that I don't know, maybe too a little repetitive for me.
Awesome. Great. That's a great idea. Like, so this is balancing between playtime and study time, and most importantly, finding out what works for you. Because like what's fun for you may not be fun for me. What's fun for me may not be fun for you. But what's important is finding something that's fun for you, and that keeps it interesting for you. And you got to mix it up too. John, you may find something very fun, interesting, maybe in the first month, and then you may get bored. May get bored, right?
Definitely has happened plenty of times.
Yeah, so then you gotta continue to find a new ways to learn grammar or learn vocabulary. So keep yourself interested. And keep yourself fun.
Also a thing I realized for me, in order to keep it fun, is not to hold on to things. So even though I found a lot of resources that I thought were good, I've noticed that when I'm able to just say whatever, forget it, and I'll recycle that piece of paper or I'll just put it away. Even though I know it's useful, if it's that useful, it'll come up again. And then when I'm ready, I'll be able to do it. But like if I'm going, oh, I need to learn this structure, and I'm doing only boring things to learn this structure, then I'll throw it away and just go on to another thing. Because if it is that important, it will come up again. So I try to let go of the things that I think are important if I'm not having fun doing them.
Great. Yeah. In the video that I did with Anthony, he also said that you need something that's effective and fun. Something you'd like to do. Not fun, he says something you'd like to do. Because it can be the most effective thing that's out there, but you don't like doing it. You won't do it. So
exactly.
There's no point. So you need to find a way that's something that's effective for you and also that's fun for you.
Yeah.
Great. Any other ideas? Christy?
I was going to say the same thing that was already said, just doing something fun in your target language. Doesn't have to be, studying grammar or something like that, but just giving yourself a little break and doing something fun.
Totally. I think when you said break, like I see some people get really, how to say it, they get burned out because they're just so hard on themselves. They have to study and trying to drill themselves. But then they get burned out, and then they wonder why they don't want to study anymore. Of course. So taking breaks is very important. That's why you get. That's why in the new Add1Challenge, where we are tracking all the yay, nay, or breaks in our website, that you get rewarded by taking breaks. So you can collect points. You get 30 points for writing yay. You get I think 20 points for breaks. I actually don't remember, but you get rewarded for breaks, and you also get rewarded for writing nays, because just acknowledging that you didn't study, it's also a step forward. Yeah, you didn't study. I own that. I did that. So let me do something about it tomorrow. Instead of like most people, what do, they disappear or they don't write anything. So you get rewarded by writing yay, nay, or breaks, and you get minus point if you don't leave it blank. So this is one new cool thing that we're adding in the new Add1Challenge.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I also think it's cool. Write down every idea you have, whether it's a negative or positive idea. So if you did a study thing, and you were like, man, that was so boring because. Write it down, and then later on you can put it into your computer. Keep this folder. So then anytime you don't have ideas about how to study, you can go back to see what you did that was fun, what that you did that was boring. It's like, oh, I'm not going to like it because it's here. You can't remember every single thing that you've done and why it was good or not, so you try things over and over again. And so since I've started writing down, oh, this was awesome because blah, 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 or this was terrible because blah, 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 I can review that and go, oh, yeah, so I'm not going to try to do that right now because for this reason. And if you keep a document about why things are fun, why they were interesting, what you think could be cool, then it's kind of like a nice thing to review when you kind of feel like you don't have anything else any more resources to reach out for.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's all I want to add. That's a great idea. Great idea, because things change too, as we talked about.
Always.
It changes. So, and once you have these ideas, you can go back. Oh, I'm getting bored now. Let's check out the list of what's there. Oh, that used to sound that sounds really scary. Talking to somebody. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, now it's really fun. You know, like okay, let's see what we can do about it. Cool. Anything else that we can? Yeah. Go on here.
I was just going to say, because I've been at university and college for like the past 4 or 5 years, that I kind of like having a structure. So I actually keep like a handheld diary thing with all of the same thing that you just said about the list of things I like doing, the things I don't like doing, and then also the minutes and things. So I just really like seeing things in organized way, so I can see what I'm doing, and that usually motivates me to do some more. Or I can see yesterday maybe should have done a bit more, and yeah, all this organization kind of helps me.
Do you mean writing down what you did and what you didn't, what you did that day, or like keeping track of what you actually did?
I keep track of what I've done, and then I write something about whether I thought it was fun or whether it was really like.
Got it.
If it ended up being like a 20-minute grammar session or something, you might see underneath like, oh, this was really hard. I don't really want to do this as often.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Great. So in the website, in the tracking sheet, there's a comment area that you can actually write that down. So as you're writing your yay, nay, or break, you can write that down. You know, so that's a perfect place you can keep your journal. Awesome. Anything else?
I was just going to say, I do the same thing Harry does. It's a really good idea, though. I track my minutes on Evernote, and then, but I've never said, like, oh, I had a lot of fun doing this, or like, oh, this is really boring. So it's a really good idea. I'm glad that you shared that, Harry, and that's cool that we'll have a tracker online, too, to kind of use. That'll be nice.
Awesome. Great. So I think the key to not only a language learning, when you're learning anything in life, the quote that we always go back to is from Anthony Lauder: do whatever it takes in this hour for you to want to learn another hour tomorrow. Let me say that again. Do whatever it takes in this hour for you to want, so that you want to learn another hour tomorrow. Because that's everything. You know, if you don't want to learn another hour tomorrow, most likely, then if you don't, then you know if you're out of the game, there's no way that you can continue learning and improving. So it's all about how to stay in the game. It's all about how to stay in the game, and burnout is probably the #1 thing. So that will keep people from continuing. So remember, doing whatever it takes in this hour so that you want to do in an hour tomorrow. Anyone you want to say anything you want? Is there anything you want to say about that? No?
Of course, I can say something.
Yeah, John always has something to say. Cool.
I realized this recently. It's kind of like working out. If everyone's ever tried to work out before and you try to run 5 miles on a treadmill, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And you know, you might be able to do it the first day, then the second day you're like, no way, I'm not doing that again. But if you set yourself a goal, a quarter of a mile is pretty easy to do if you try to. So the same thing with language learning. I noticed that when I started getting burned out is because I was trying to do too much. But eventually, I was able to run, you know, that mile a day, so to speak, with my brain, because it's a muscle, right? Your brain gets tired. It actually gets tired. Like energy gets drained out of it. So there will be times where you're doing too much, but just because you haven't experienced, your brain hasn't experienced those processes yet, you're going to get tired. Eventually, your brain will start to work as that muscle, and you'll know the things that you could do every day. You know that some of the things that you can't do every day, and you just have to know that it's kind of like a muscle that's getting worked. And so to treat it right, you know, be nice to your brain. Don't like try to get it to run a whole marathon right away. Maybe, you know, take yourself. So don't be discouraged when you get burned out. It just means you work the brain muscle quite a lot, actually. So, and knowing that is I think really important. Really important.
John, are you in A1Challenge number 11?
Number 11, yeah.
Number 11. Okay, so there's one thing I want to ask you. Like, so what I've been seeing in the A1Challenge lately is that people think that their progress when you're learning a language is linear. Like, if I'm at this point right now, okay, I don't see myself I'm on day 60. I don't see myself being able to speak hello 50-minute in day 90. That's only because if you think that learning a language is linear, like your progress is linear, but actually that's not true when you learn a language. Do you find that correct, or how is it going for you in your challenge?
I always hold myself to dates and times and standards, but then I look at that and I just go the next day. So for like the day 90 video, I'm not worried about how I'll be on day 90. I'm worried about what I'll be doing on day 91. Just because this thing is over, does that mean I'm going to stop? How do I prepare for the next days? Like, I just realized today, I know so little English. And so I wrote a little whiteboard on English words that I don't know how to use. You don't ever stop learning a language. You can only begin one, right? And once you begin one, then there's kind of no end. So however long you take or however fast you are, slow you are at learning it, there's always going to be more to learn. So like being a perfectionist when it comes to language learning, you can't be. You know, you just, I don't really know how to explain it that well, but no, so to answer your question, it's not linear. It's just, it's a process. It's a process. And it's a forever process. My brother is a speechwriter. And so he's always looking at ways to get better speech writing in English. So he's always learning more in English. And his vocabulary and everything he says is far better than anything I'll ever say in English. But he knows it's something that he can only improve on. And there's not like, oh, I'm finally this best speech writer, for example.
Great. So what I got from you, what you just said, is that you find an empowering way to accept that that's just the progress, just a process, you know, and that's great when you're learning something that you accept that's just the process, you know, because a lot of people go like, oh, I'm not as where I wanted to be today, you know, they beat themselves up and things like that, and accepting that that's just the process. And another thing that I want to point out, is that your progress is not linear, because we're doing something in a consistent basis, and it kind of compound together, and you don't know when it's going to click. You don't know when you wake up one day and then all your sentences start forming. You don't know when when you're talking and it start flowing, and the other person, and you all of a sudden you realize that you're actually speaking a language. You don't know when that's going to happen, and it's not linear. So whenever you think you're discouraged, oh, I don't think I can do that in the future sometime, you just don't know. You have no idea.
Yeah, and it's really easy to do that because we wake up and go to sleep every day, most people. But I realize some people are insomniacs. They don't go to sleep. So their whole life is just one giant day. There's no linear, like, oh, today I did this, yesterday. So, like, if you try to picture that from, like, an insomniac's perspective, there's no, it would be too hard to track, you know, but we're able to do that because we sleep and wake up, sleep and wake up. Today I feel whatever. But if you just picture life as just one giant thing, well, then how are you going to record that? Just accept it, you know, and just go through it and enjoy it. That's how I picture it.
All right. So I think, do you guys have any questions, any thoughts, or any how things works, or like
how will the study groups work?
Okay, great. So you're learning Spanish.
Yes.
So how it works is that we'll assign you, if you're, so because we can't guarantee who's going to be in learning the language in a particular A1 Challenge. So most likely you already have a few people learning Spanish in here, so you definitely get assigned a study group. So you get a message from us. What day? On day 3? Yes, on day 3. Basically, you get a message from us with your group on Facebook, and then what you're gonna do is you take turns coming with a topic each week, and you meet each other every week to just practice speaking and just get comfortable speaking. And I invite you to not speak any other language but your target language, but maybe the first time. Yeah, just that's, you know, you guys, it's up to you what you want to get out of it. So I invite you guys. I mean, the first conversation, just learning how to introduce yourself, and then you just keep on going. And you're not stuck in your study group, because sometimes we never know. We can't guarantee how consistent people are. You know, some people can't make it, or, you know, you're not stuck in that study group. So we'll have a spread. You'll be able to see other people's study group learning your particular language, then you can just maybe message them and say, hey, when's your study group? Let me join you guys. Do you mind? And then you can go from there. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
I have a question.
All right.
Could you talk a little bit about the assignments and mini challenges that you'll be sending out, or that we're getting?
Yeah, those are fun. Let's see. Assignments and mini challenges. So basically, specifically the mini challenges are designed because we've done this. This is the 13 times we've been doing this for like 2 years. So we kind of know where most people their process is, like, when they get like down, and also what they need in terms of breaking down your goal in 90 days. The 90 days in your 90 goals, 15-minute conversation. Okay, what do you need month 1, month 2, month 3, and we'll have it according to that. So each month you get a mini challenge. The first 2 months you have some assignments. Also, do some assignments. So all of these are designed to help you interact with your community, and also at the same time moving you toward your goal.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I have to talk about every single one of them. You find out when you get there. Yes.
Sounds good.
Cool.
I have a question.
All right.
What is going to be the main platform for communication? If we have both this forum and Facebook and our emails, what's going to be the main platform?
The main platform is the website. The chat, the Facebook's only for the chats. Because in this new website that we're building right now, we don't have. We're trying to find because we have 100 people learning 20 to 30 different languages. That's like 100 different groups. So we're still trying to find out the technology to handle all these different small groups here. So right now for this one, we're just going to use Facebook. In terms of just your study group and mastermind group chats, but everything else is all going to be in your in the main group, and also I'll email you. For example, there's an assignment. Every time there's an assignment or a mini challenge, I'll send you an email and post in the Facebook, not Facebook group, in the website. Oops, in the website. So whenever there's an event or something like that, I'll send you. Definitely, you definitely get an email.
Thank you.
Cool.
I have a second question.
All right.
So by the end of the 90 days,
yes,
we have to have a 15-minute conversation with a native speaker. So what happens if you have someone who's learning a language that's kind of not really common, I guess, or just, I mean, where do you get those? Do we have to go and seek out the native speaker? Is it something that you provide, like you have a group of people who are willing to speak with, the people learning a language, and what do you do when you have someone who can't find a native speaker?
Great
I mean,
question.
it's not really the case for me, I think, for Spanish, but maybe someone who's learning, like, a language that's spoken in one tiny country in the world. Like, what do you do then?
Yeah, so basically we don't provide language learning partners. You could go find it yourself.
Okay.
Part of it is you need to. We will tell you where to. We recommend different places to find it, but it's also in your own benefits to learn how to find it yourself, because you can't always rely on us finding language partners. And the idea is, if you're going to have a 90-day on a 15-minute conversation with native speakers on day 90, it's pretty good idea to start finding language partners and practicing before that 15-minute conversation, right?
Okay.
So most people always already, if they're practicing, if they're in the challenge, if they're really taking it on, they already have a few people they can talk to by day 90. And if for the small minority people, like minority language people, it's very hard to find. Another thing before I said that, there's also people who are in the A1, for example. Henry, are you German? Henry, are you German?
No, I'm English.
Oh, you're English. Somebody who's in Germany.
Yeah. I live in Germany.
Oh, you live in Germany. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I live in Germany, but I'm from-
So maybe there are different like native speaker in the language that you're learning in the community that you can definitely ask them to if they like to be your partner or for recording a day 90 video. So that's been done before. People would love to to help you out. And for the people with the minority language, there's always a way. It's kind of said. If you believe if it's not like an extinct language, there's always a way. One example is Nikki. She's 70 plus years old, and um, she was having a lot of trouble finding somebody to practice Kamaji with her. So, and one of the mini challenge, as you asked, the mini challenge. One of the mini challenge, which is mini challenge number 3, is to be broken down into different small teams, and you record how many the time that you spent speaking. So the team with the most speaking minutes win this mini challenge. And when she got this mini challenge, she's like, "Oh crap! I don't have anybody to speak with, and what am I gonna do? I live in Albania, so I guess I will go there and to find people to speak." So she took a trip to the country to speak with to find native speakers to practice, so she won't let her teammate down, and she can participate in this mini challenge. So this is a 72-year-old or more lady that we're talking about here. So if there's a way, if your language is not extinct, there's a way. Yes. So did I answer your question? It's a great question, by the way, because people always ask me that.
I have a question, Brian. From what I understand, people who take the Add1Challenge, some of us start as like no exposure, like brand new to our language, versus those of us that have been studying for a while and are kind of looking for that boost to get us to a higher level of fluency. I'm just wondering if you have any advice for those of us that are brand new versus those of us that have been studying for a while for this challenge.
Great. So let's open this up to everybody. What do you guys think?
Maybe I can say something about German, because German is a language I've studied for like 6 or 7 years, and then this year I came to Germany to live here because it's a completely different process when you start a language from zero, or when you're trying to go from like a C1 to a C2 level, which is trying to go from a really advanced level to more or less a native speaker level. And all I can say is you have to really get involved with the language when you're at a more advanced level. Like now, I can do most things in German, so in order to improve, I actually have to go climbing with my housemates and things and do all these new activities, whereas when I learned Greek a few months ago, it was like with a textbook and all these things, because I didn't know how to say all the common words. So I can just give my experience that when you get to a higher level, you kind of have to throw yourself into a lot more new things and really push past your comfort zone.
Even when you're first, but I totally agree with that. Like I think at different, what you're saying is at a different stage you require different kind of things to advance to the next level. Even when you're, and you know, for people who have never studied a foreign language, just speaking or learning speaking, that's like going way beyond their comfort zone already, right? So in every levels, you are going beyond your comfort zone, pretty much. And everyone's different too. So if you're starting from zero, from scratch, Christy, is that where you're from? Or you learn, or you already, okay. And you start with something very simple, like say "안녕하세요" or "How are you?" or "사랑해" or "Hey," like like "bubble," some like simple things, and then you go. For me, when I first started learn a new language from like brand new, I just focus on things that I want to say, I like to say, and very short, simple sentences, and then just don't worry about grammar. Just say those little things, and You know, when people understand me, I go like, yes, yes. You know, small wins. That's what you need when you first started. Small wins, lots of small wins, and then you figure out on the way what you need to do. Any other ideas? Yeah.
Also, if you can, I mean, I don't know how it works in different languages, but try to find shortcuts, like sentences or words that you can use to express a lot of ideas or different ideas. Especially if you want to try to express ideas in different tenses. So, for example, instead of trying to learn like every single past tense of every single verb and the future tense, just kind of find like shortcuts to it. So instead of, let's say, future tense, I will, I will swim or I will walk. Maybe you can find shortcuts that work for all verbs. For example, it would be I am going to, and then you just know the verb itself instead of having to learn the conjugation of that verb. I mean, I'm not sure if it works for every single language, but if you can find those shortcuts, then it's much easier to express yourself than having to sit down and memorize every single verb and conjugation. So.
And adding to that, what I like to do is, like, for example, I learn how to say I'm going to. And then when I go to, and then I'll go to a language partner or iTalk teacher. I'm just going to practice I'm going to. And I'm just trying to make as many sentences as I can. I'm going to this. I'm going to that. Okay, I don't know how to say I'm going to the park. How do you say the park? Okay, can you type that? Can you type park? Okay, I'm going to the park. Is that correct? Is that say it correctly? And she'll correct you if he or she will correct you if you didn't say it correct. So you're practicing using that just one I'm going to with many, many different sentences. Eventually you're going to get it. Okay. And then you move on to the next one. Oh, I want to. And then so you build slowly on starting from what you like to say first. You're making sentences what interests you first. That's what I like to. That's personally what I like doing. I think that's a lot of fun doing.
Also, another. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think also that just knowing that if you plan to learn more languages and it's your first language, just know that you're going to be better doing it your fifth language, sixth language, and every time you get better. Like the first time you read a book in your native language, it's hard to read. And then the second time you read a book, it's a little better. And even though the content might be different, each book might be a little more difficult, the reading process is easier because you've done it before. So I think you just have to be okay with the fact that there is going to be so much that you don't even know how to approach when you first start learning language. I started learning in February Spanish when I went to Ecuador. And I could memorize, I know way more Spanish vocabulary than I do Korean. But I feel so much more, like, I don't know the word, smarter about approaching Korean because I have experience learning a little bit of another language. You know, so what things work for me, what things don't. So I think you just have to be okay that you're not going to be perfect. I don't know if you're a perfectionist, but especially because you're learning Korean. With Korean, there's so many different there's like more tenses than Spanish and everything. So it can look really confusing, but just knowing that you'll get it, and if you keep trying, you'll get it eventually, then that puts you at more ease because you're going to be better learning the third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth language every time you try a new one, no matter how relatively similar to your own language it is. You know, same thing with any sports. The first time you play a sport, you don't even know how to run. Yeah. Then the fifth time you play a new sport, you can you know how to run at least. You know, so even though the sport might be different, you have some background on how to do a sport. Running is important. Yeah. You know, unless it's golf.
I really like what you're saying, John. Like, I think when it's about like trusting the process, like trusting, have faith in. As long as you put in the work, trusting it's going to work out.
Yeah. Because it's the difference between wanting to learn a language and wanting to know a language. Wanting to know a language means I want to speak it. Wanting to learn it means I want to go through the whole rigmarole, the whole ups and downs, and trying things out. Like, that's what kind of always tell myself. I'm like, I do want to know it, but I have to learn it first before I can know it. You know.
All right.
So it's okay if I suck.
All right. So Respin asked a question about the mastermind group in Facebook. So what's the different thing about what mastermind group is that you will be put in, if you say yes you want a mastermind group, you'll be put into groups of people learning different languages with you. So what you are doing is basically just keeping each other updated and accountable. So basically, you say what you are working on next week and what you worked on last week, and just give us each other an update by the end of the week via chat, or you can even Skype if you guys like, and you can go on Google just to have a chat. But it's not mandatory. You can just updating each other by chat. But most people find it really good when they can actually like meet up and have a conversation, like whine a little bit or sharing victories, So people really like those. All right. Any other questions? No. So all right, cool. So thank you for all the questions. You guys are great, and I think a lot of people will get a lot from all the questions you asked, and also all your contributions of sharing and brainstorming. And I think this is, I think one thing, last thing I want to say is that how I don't pretend I have all the answers. So when we put our brains together, we get. This is why the Add1Challenge works, because we are doing it together in the community instead of doing it ourselves on our own. So whenever you're stuck, whenever you are have a question, or you're stuck, or you're struggling, or you have a victory, share it with the community, because this is how we can contribute to our. Because when you feel stuck, most likely somebody else is feeling stuck too, somewhere. And when you're sharing that, just knowing somebody's actually in the same journey as you, it makes a big difference. So, yeah, just post when you have a question, when you're stuck, or a victory, share with us, and let's do this together.
Yeah, that's the best part, the Facebook group being interactive and just like sharing ideas. It's a very safe zone.
Great. Cool. All right, so you guys ready to rock and roll?
Ready.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so thank you for participating, and I look forward to seeing your progress in the next 90 days. And thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Have a good day, y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.